Hi, I hope you enjoyed the previous clips of the drawing I created over the last couple of days. I've really been feeling a need to look deeper into what I call a longing for home within me. And so I took to drawing in the way that I normally do, which is to hold an intention and then to grab colors that my body wants to use and allow my arm and my body to move the shapes on the page. So in that process, I created this image to find some information about what I was trying to find out about longing to be home, more at home within myself. And within this image, I see what appears to be a pregnancy and like a seed pod coming up. A human seed pod of something birthing, of something crawling out, perhaps from underneath rock. But nonetheless, something ready to break out of some place where it has been before. And it is still emerging. It's not quite out of place yet. As I started to draw what looks like a heart on this side, I started in the very middle. And within this deep red area, I felt it was like a temple, like the temple of our heart. But I also saw that it seemed to be like a virus. And so I reflected upon what we feel is good and bad within our lives. That we never quite know whether something is good or bad, or something in between. We can have a sensation about whether it is good or bad. But we also have to consider that things are shifting in our world and how that affects us. Something that feels quite disruptive might ultimately be good. For any direction that we choose to take in our life, we must consider what we're willing to pass through to get to the other side, regardless of the anxiety or the angst that comes up in the passageway. So those are some reflections I have about my drawing. I also drew some cards, one of which are spirit messages. Observe limitations is what it says. But I think of the hummingbird on this image as being a playfulness, as being that spirit that flitters around, that gives you signals and messages and invites you to play with your life rather than being so serious. So be light and listen and receive the messages that Spirit is trying to send. But be grounded in your heart. Be grounded in the earth. Be grounded in the universal heavens. This card says, ground your light, let your soul shine. So be grounded and come out. Come out from the earth, but come out. Come out from a place of being grounded, but come out and shine your light. And this card is expansion. Educate your mind and your senses. As I was discussing before, when we move through different stages in our life, difficulties in our life, pathways that we want to choose in our life, they're not always the most pleasant to move forward through. We have to choose to go through something to get to the other side. The butterfly, as it metamorphoses from the caterpillar, must break through those layers on its own to have the strength to fly. If you help it, if you don't allow that struggle, it will not fly, or it will be crippled in some way, because that is the passageway through to the other side, to the transformation. So expect that something will need to be pushed through and expanded. And the last card is a sacred divinity. There are two paths ahead. This reminds me again of choices and of balance. Choices and balance in divinity. Of being led by Spirit and making choices within our lives for the betterment. But having the courage to pass through whatever it is we're trying to get to go through the anxiety, the angst, the frustration, to something better within our lives. So, what does this mean for my intention of longing to be home within me? What does this mean for us to long to be home within ourselves? I have to go back to the sensations that I'm feeling in my body as I think about this. And those that come up are that a seed is growing in my heart. A seed that has not yet progressed to the pod, to the place that it can open up. It is still just a seed in my heart that I hold dear to me. I hold steadily, and I hold with all the love in my heart. I hope that we can hold this longing together of being home within ourselves, within our hearts. Thank you. Namaste.